Here's some important information on how to vote and types of elections for the state of Arizona. There are different types of elections and each has its own set of rules and laws, including who is eligible to participate. The first type of election is a primary election. A primary election serves to narrow down each political party's candidates. The candidates that win the nomination in the primary advance to the general election. Arizona has an open primary which allows voters registered as independent to participate by designating to their county recorder which partisan ballot they would like to receive. The second type of election is a general election. The general election is the final election. The general election ballot may contain offices such as President of the U.S., U.S. Senator, U.S. House of Representatives, Corporation Commissioner, State Senator, State House of Representatives, justices and judges, and local offices. The general election ballot may also contain propositions to be voted upon by the people. The third type of election is a presidential preference election, or PPE. The PPE is an election in which voters choose their presidential candidate for the upcoming general election. Party winners of the Arizona PPE are officially determined at the party's national convention. Candidate elections held at the state and federal level are partisan. Political parties have to be recognized by the state and under the laws pertaining to political party creation. For example, there's no such thing as an independent party. Independent means the person is non-party affiliated. Voters may register with a political party or as independent. A voter's affiliation determines which elections they participate in and what type of ballot they receive. During the primary elections in Arizona, voters who are registered as one of the recognized parties, Democratic, Libertarian, or Republican, will vote their party ballot. If you're not registered to a party and are an independent, you can still vote during the primary election. This is because Arizona has an open primary provision. But in order to participate, an independent voter must specify which ballot type they would like to vote. During the presidential preference election, or PPE, independent voters must change their voter registration to participate in the PPE. Every voter needs to be affiliated with a party in which they choose to vote. During the general elections are not party-specific, so voters will get a ballot with multiple parties on it. An independent voter is not required to do anything different. The nominees from each party in the primary election will appear on the same general election ballot. In Arizona, when it comes time to vote, voters get to decide how they want to receive their official ballot. Did you know you can vote early, before Election Day? Voters can obtain and cast their ballots starting 27 days prior to every election. Contact your county elections department or where to vote early in person, or for more information on casting your vote by mail. You don't have to be on the permanent early voters list to vote by mail. If you know you'll be out of town on Election Day, you can request to vote early by mail or in person. Arizona's Permanent Early Voting List, PEVL, allows a voter to automatically receive a ballot by mail for every election they are eligible to vote in. To sign up for PEVL online, you will need to complete a new voter registration form, send a written request with your signature to your county recorder, and you may also make a one-time early ballot request by contacting the county recorder. Voting by mail allows you to vote from the comfort of your home. This option allows you the convenience of voting with no distractions. bypass long lines, and take the time you need to vote your ballot. In-person early voting locations are available beginning 27 days before the election through the Friday before Election Day. Hours of operation may vary by location. Location typically includes the county recorder's office, as well as a designated locations across the voter's county. To find in-person voting locations, contact your county recorder's office. Election Day voting is always held on a Tuesday, and voting locations are open from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. There are different types of voting locations depending on the voter's county. There are polling places or vote centers. Polling places are voting locations that are assigned to individual voters. Counties that utilize polling places provide a polling place in each voting precinct. Every voter in that specific precinct must go to their assigned polling place on Election Day in order to vote. If you go to the wrong location, a poll worker should notify you of your correct polling place. If you choose to stay at the incorrect polling place, you have the right to vote a provisional ballot. However, the provisional ballot may not count if the county recorder determines you are at the incorrect polling place. Vote centers are voting locations available on Election Day in certain counties. Vote centers are different than polling places in that any eligible voter can visit a vote center in their county and receive and cast their ballot. To find vote center locations in your county, visit your county elections department or download the Clean Elections Commission app. Both will provide you with location information on the nearest vote center to you. Don't forget, when you vote at the polls, vote centers, or in-person early voting, you need to bring identification that has your picture on it. By Arizona law, what you need to vote is an ID including your name and address. If you have one, it may be the only ID you need if it meets certain requirements, such as the address on the ID card is current and matches your voter registration address. This includes Arizona driver's license, a U.S. federal, state, or local government issued ID, issued with printed name and address, an Arizona ID card, or a tribal enrollment card or other form of tribal ID. If your ID has no picture on it, you must have 2 valid forms of ID with a current address that matches your voter registration address, such as a utility bill in your name, a bank or credit union statement, Arizona vehicle registration, Indian census card, property tax statement of your residence, a piece of mail in your name marked official election material, Arizona vehicle insurance card, a recorder's certificate, U.S. federal, state, or local government issued ID issued with printed name, address, with your voter registration card issued by the county recorder, or a tribal enrollment card or other form of tribal ID. For a list of required documentation, visit azcleanelections.gov/how-to-vote. Every voter is unique and has different circumstances that can impact their voting experience. Clean Elections has resources and information available so every voter can get the facts they need to vote informed. This includes military voters, voters with no address, and voters with a disability. If you have questions regarding accessibility in voting, please reach out to our County Elections Department. Also, for each statewide election, the Clean Elections and Secretary of State's office will send out to each resident, each registered voter household, a pamphlet or the upcoming statewide election races so you can stay informed.